Can I do a quick?
Now
Did I
you
say
can- now
that
you can.
again?
Yeah, please.
All right, the September 17th meeting of the Commission on City Plan is called to order. Your roll call, I'm here, Dean Nason, Jim Cordo, Ella Miles are regulars, and we're going to seat Nick Fortson as tonight as the alternate to be seated. Jason was seated last time, and I don't see Tracy. That said, can we have a motion to approve the August 20th minutes?
This is Ella. I'll make that motion.
Okay, Ella, thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Second by Dean. Any discussion of the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so, any communications, Dan?
None tonight. There was a couple from Preston we're gonna have Kathy speak about, but we might.
Okay. So new business, we have a public hearing and potential action on special permit application SP 2407, 174 West Town Street. It's a request for a special permit for proposed site development, land disturbance activities in a FEMA designated special flood hazard area associated with a proposed drive-through restaurant use. It's the application of DEKK Group LLC, property of 174 West Town Street LLC, Assessor's Map 58, Block 2, Lot 26, Zone GC. So can we have a motion to open the public hearing?
So move. So move.
Motion by Jim, second by Nick, to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that being said, is there someone here to speak on behalf of the application?
You're here. Good evening. For the record, my name is Brandon Handfield, professional civil engineer with the Antic River Consultants located in Lebanon, Connecticut, representing the owner 174 West Town Street LLC and the applicant Deck Group LLC. Thanks for having us here tonight to discuss a special permit for a drive-through restaurant at 174 West Town Street. The property is located in the Bean Hill Yannick area of the city and is the former location of the Grange Hall. That Grange Hall has been vacant since, I believe, purchased in 2021 by the current owner. And the westerly portion of the site is located within a FEMA Zone AE, special flood hazard area. And we'll get into the details of that, but that is the purpose of the public hearing tonight. I'll try to keep the presentation brief. Any questions at any time, feel free to ask or jump in, and I'll just share my screen real quick. All right, just to confirm, you're looking at the title sheet of the plan set?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, just to orient ourselves on where 174 West Town Street is in the city. It's located again in the Yannick area. So on this plan here, north is up. The areas to the west and to the north are shared parking lot between 190 West Town Street above, and the bowling alley building is right here. So this is the bowling alley, and all this parking is shared between those properties. To the east or right would be West Town Street or Connecticut State Route 642. To the bottom right or southeast, this is the off-ramp and on-ramp for 395 southbound. And then to the south would be the Shell gas station. And then further off the page would be the compressed natural gas station. So the property in question is basically in the middle of all these developed properties and West Town Street. Quickly before jumping to the next page, there is a zoning map clip on this page that shows we're in the general commercial zone. And most of the area around us, or all the area around us, is also general commercial. What you have here, this is the survey performed by Franklin Surveys overlaid on an April 2024 aerial. This shows the existing conditions. The property boundaries are outlined in orange. The area of the site is approximately 0.31 acres. The Grange Hall building in the middle of the site outlined in orange. And there's really no formal access or parking of this site. There are two curb cuts that exists at the southeast corner and a very faint curb cut next to this catch basin at the northeast corner, but no on-site parking that we can find. It's likely they parked on the grass when they attended or on other parking lots. Again, the zone is general commercial, and then I will point out this teal line here that runs from north to south through the site. This is the limit of zone AE mapped on the current FEMA mapping. Everything to the right side of this would be zone X, or the 500-year storm. Everything to the left would be inundated during a 100-year storm. And you also see this red line here. This is the calculated FEMA 100-year floodplain limits based on published elevation. So the published elevations of the Yanick River floodplain in this site are approximately 96.1. And what we did is delineated how that 96.1 goes along the land. And you can see it really doesn't encroach onto our property due to the elevation of this curbed berm around this property. I will say that there is a depression in this location that does go below 96.1, goes down to about 95.5. For that reason, we're honoring the mapped limits, and we're here today for the special permit. Vegetation on the site, there's really not a lot of mature vegetation except for this 30-inch maple tree in the front. All the other trees are right along the property boundaries, consisting of walnuts and maples. Most of the site is maintained grass and nothing of significance. There are no wetlands on the site. I do show the system of utilities that exists serving the existing Grange building. You can see sewer in green within West Town Street with a connection or sewer lateral. We have a water main with also a connection. There is a gas main. I don't believe there is a connection for the gas, but it is available to us. And then overhead power is available on the east or west shoulder of West Town Street. Moving on to the proposed plan. Starting with the demolition, the existing Grange building itself will be demolished, as well as all utility connections, and for the construction of a new building and new utility connections. So the proposed building is shown in orange in the center of the site. It is approximately 920 square feet. It is a proposed drive-through restaurant. The front door would face West Town Street, and there'd be a pickup window next to that front door. Rear door would it be consistent for employees only and maintenance, and then there'd be a dual pickup window or drive-through window facing south. Access to the site will be provided with two means of ingress and egress from West Town Street. We'll have one-way entrance and exit lanes on our way, and both will serve as a right-in, right-out only. So in a southbound direction, traffic comes southbound on West Town Street, they can turn right in to the site. And after they leave the site, they can turn right back out onto Route 642. The geometry of these roads, as well as the internal island, will discourage left-hand turns onto the site and off of the site. Adequate sight lines are provided from the exit lane here, looking left. So the exit lane in the southeast corner. Looking left, we have adequate sight lines to meet DOT requirements for the 85th percentile. And because it is a right turn only, we have to meet stopping sight distance, not intersection sight distance. DOT has reviewed this access configuration as well as the sight lines. We have no comments on the actual configuration, but there are technical comments related to signage and curbing that we can address. I did upload a copy of the city or the DOT's review letter to the portal for the record. Circulation of traffic on the site will be counterclockwise around the new building. So on the external part of the site, we have a bypass lane that is 7 feet wide as required by your regulations. On the internal part of the island, we have the drive-through lane that is 10 feet wide. That drive-through lane provides 298 feet of queuing, which exceeds the city requirement for 10 cars at 18 feet each, or 180 feet. It also exceeds the DOT requirement, which is typically 20 feet and 14 cars are 280 feet. So we have a sufficient stacking to keep cars on the site without encroaching back into the state right of way. Parking on the site is proposed in 2 locations. There are 3 parking spaces in the front, including a handicapped accessible, which will be van accessible. These spaces here serve as parking for folks that come onto the site, park, and go to the pickup window, or also for loading for trucks that come on and offload or load wares for the business. As you go to the rear of site, there are 3 additional parking spaces for employees. In total, we have 6 parking spaces, which are meets the requirements of your zoning. And there was a comment from the city engineer that our table incorrectly says we are proposing 7. We are proposing 6, and we will correct that table. Pedestrian access is provided from both the front and rear doors to our parking areas. So the front door has handicapped accessible route to the handicapped parking space, and the rear door has pedestrian sidewalks that basically offload folks to the rear employee spaces. Trash management will be handled with a trash enclosure to the northwest corner of the site. And in response to one of the building officials' concerns and review, we'll also be adding in trash receptacles on the inside radius of the island, so that there won't be any litter or debris from people waiting in line. Lighting will be pole-mounted aerial lighting. So we'll have one in the front serving the front parking areas and pedestrian sidewalk, and then 2 more in the rear island serving, again, the access drives and also the parking area out to the back. Landscaping will consist of 3 different measures. 1, we're going to keep all of the existing mature trees around the perimeter to the north and northwest. Internal islands around the building will be planted with foundation plantings and island plantings. And then the bulk of the landscaping will occur in these bright green areas, which are rain gardens, and those will be native Connecticut species planted within the rain garden to promote treatment of our stormwater and also retain stormwater. In terms of grading, drainage, and utilities, I'll be brief, but I do want to highlight a few things. So we do have adequate utilities to serve the site. We'll have a new sewer lateral connection with a grease trap. We'll have a new water lateral connection to the building, a new gas connection to the building in yellow, and then a new electrical connection to the building in red. All of the drainage is shown in teal. The drainage will consist of a series of pervious pavement over the parking areas, rain garden depressions within the central island and rear island, and then subsurface storage within a stone reservoir. In total, the stormwater system meets the requirements of the city as well as the 2023 guidelines for stormwater treatment by the DEEP. And then before leaving this, I do want to point out again, this is the FEMA Zone AE line here that's mapped. And while we're on the grading page, I'll point out everything to the left or to the west of that line consists of driveways or grading associated with our project. Those items are highlighted in a letter I submitted on September 16th and went through the special permit criteria under section 3.4.7. And I just want to summarize. I can read the letter into the record or I can summarize it, but for now I'll summarize that special permits required for the paved roads, paved driveways, paved parking areas, and excavation of and grading and regrading of lands. The proposed non-residential restaurant structure is located outside of the published FEMA Zone AE limit, so the restaurant building itself is located to the east or outside of it. In addition, the finished floor elevation of that restaurant is above the published elevation of 96.1, so it is not part of the special permit requirements. Compensatory storage has been provided on the site. Again, there's a small depression here. It's about 6 inches deep. The volume of that depression is around 3,000 cubic feet. We're able to provide that compensatory storage in this rear rain garden. So we have over 3,000 cubic feet of storage here. And our storage is not including any storage within the subsurface stone reservoir, this rain garden, or any pervious pavement structure. So we believe we meet the requirements of compensatory storage, and the water holding capacity of the floodplain will not be reduced. In addition, the project will not tend to reduce the value or usefulness of other properties in the floodplain or near the floodplain, as we're maintaining existing drainage patterns and conditions from this area, which flow in a westerly direction. The project will not present a potential pollution hazard to soil, ground, or surface waters, and the project will not endanger public facilities. Real brief, I'll go through the erosion and sedimentation control plan. Pretty basic plan. It's a small site, but we will have anti-tracking aprons at the construction entrances, depending on which one they select to use, or both. We show two. Those will be used during the demolition and the entire construction of the site. We have silt fence around the entire perimeter, soil stockpiles, and to the rear, we will have a siltation trap to retain any construction-related stormwater for the duration of construction. And that will also be lined to ensure that we do not impact the existing granular soils that are below that, and we will be using for infiltration later. Any questions on the site plan before I jump to the building? We can come back to it. All right, so this is the prototype floor plan. Again, 923 square feet. Front door entrance with a drive or a walk-up pickup window. There will be two drive-through windows. Again, this is facing south. And here's your rear maintenance and employee door. The only change to this plan is there will not be a walk-in cooler off of the building. So we have eliminated that by Xing out the prototype. Prototypical building elevations are also submitted. And again, the only change here is we Xed out that there will not be a cooler on the north side of the building. So from the front facade here, you have your front door, your pickup window. It will not be a cooler. Excuse me. Moving over to the drive-through elevation on the south side, you have your two pickup windows. To the rear elevation, here's your employee and service door, no cooler again. And then this is the north elevation, the only change being that the cooler will be removed and the siding will continue right to the ground. That is the brief presentation. I'll wrap that up for now. I also submitted a letter, again dated September 16th, that goes through the 13 special permit criteria listed under section 7.7.6. For the purposes of getting to questions and comments, I'm happy to come back and read that into the record or summarize how we meet those 13 conditions. But I will say, I believe we meet all those conditions at 7.7.6. And with that, I'll turn it over to you. Excuse me.
Yeah, Mr. Hansel, I think it'd be a good idea to either summarize your letter or read it into the record so that we know why you think it meets the criteria.
Happy to. Just give me 1 minute. I need to take a drink of water.
Sure, go ahead.
Thanks, a little dry up here. All right. So section 7.7.6. Pull up the letter here. Number one, the proposed use must be consistent with the current Norwich Plan of Conservation and Development. We reviewed the Plan of Conservation and Development. The existing property is developed and was formerly occupied as the Norwich Grange Hall. The site is in the general commercial district and has been vacant since the sale in 2021. The proposed use will redevelop an underutilized and outdated site within a commercial area. Work within the special flood hazard areas has been limited to secondary access and parking with no change in flood storage capacity. With that, the proposed use is consistent with the current Norwich Plan of Conservation and Development. The location size of the site is number 2. The redevelopment of the site into a drive-through restaurant is in harmony with the appropriate and orderly development in a district in which it is located and will promote the welfare of the city per the following. The location and size of the site are within a developed commercial area and are adequate for the proposed drive-through restaurant. The nature and intensity of operations involved in or conducted in connection with the use are comparable to the surrounding developed properties or uses. West Town Street, which is Connecticut Route 642, will provide adequate access to the development through the implementation of right in and right out only movements to minimize impact on existing traffic patterns and controls. Condition 3, the design elements. Let's see, I'll just read the responses here. 3A, the design elements of the proposed redevelopment accommodate and enhance existing site features, and the proposed building is attractive and consistent with the style of other commercial buildings and developed properties in the immediate area. Response 4A, the proposed redevelopment will improve a vacant and outdated commercial property with a new building and site that is in harmony with surrounding commercially developed properties. The location, nature, and height of all buildings, walls, and fences, and the nature and extent of planned activities and landscaping on the site will not hinder or discourage the appropriate development and or use of adjacent land and buildings or impair the value thereof. Response 5A, the proposed drive-through restaurant redevelopment will have no adverse effect upon neighboring area resulting from signs, lights, or noise-making devices, as these features have been incorporated into the design to meet the minimum requirements for a typical business operation, safety, and are in harmony with surrounding developments. 6A is not applicable. The proposed development will replace the existing structure with a new building constructed in compliance with current public health and safety standards. 7A, access to and from the proposed redevelopment will be provided from West Town Street, which is Connecticut State Route 642. Connecticut DOT District 2 was contacted during preparation of the site design for preliminary review of the access driveway configuration, on-site queuing, and traffic. Excuse me. District 2 has reviewed the site development plan set included as part of the special permit application, and there were no indication of adverse impact to safety, traffic congestion, or interference with vehicular circulation in the review letter. The proposed plan will not adversely impact traffic congestion or interfere with the pattern of vehicular circulation. 8A, parking is in compliance with the zoning regulations and adequate for the maximum number of employees working per shift at the drive-through restaurant, with additional spaces available for patron pickup. Right in and right out only driveways are proposed to satisfy Connecticut DOT District 2 comments and prevent traffic hazards and nuisances. Response 9A, Connecticut State 642 is adequate to accommodate the traffic generated by the proposed drive-through restaurant use. 10A, it is our understanding that public water and sewer utilities on or available to the site are adequate for the proposed drive-through restaurant use. Stormwater drainage has been designed to match existing collection and discharge conditions in conformance with accepted engineering practices and local and state standards. 11A, the proposed drive-through restaurant site is readily accessible from the adjacent public street, which is Connecticut Route 642, and a bypass lane is provided in addition to the drive-through queuing lane around the entire perimeter of the site to provide unimpeded access to all sides of the building. And that is related to access and provisions for emergency services. 12A, there are no known natural, scenic, historic, or unique resources on the existing developed site. Conservation restrictions and or protection measures are not warranted. And last, 13A, the redeveloped site, including buildings, driveways, parking, drainage, and landscaping, will be maintained in accordance with the site plans that you have and the strict maintenance requirements of the proposed drive-through restaurant franchise.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah, take care of a little housekeeping if you want.
got a question.
Yes. Hi, Bill. I have a question. How many seats are inside this building? For customers?
There are no seats inside this building.
None at all.
No, it's simply a drive-through or pickup situation only.
Okay, thank you.
So Frank, I'll just go through my memo real quick.
Sure.
As mentioned earlier, the special permit before you tonight is just for the part in the back, really working the flood zone. As Brandon presented, their compensatory storage meets and exceeds what's there currently. Staff's opinion that site plan requirements have been met, drive-through. Most of my other comments, or all my other comments, have been either noted in the revised plan set, or as Brandon mentioned, just a couple housekeeping things that need to be changed, parking table. I think that's pretty much it. I would note that staff it's your purview for the pickup window staff. Some staff aren't thrilled with the pickup window, some staff,
You mean the inside pickup window?
the walk-up pickup window.
Yeah.
People aren't allowed in the building, only employees.
Oh, so that's just on the outside. That's
Just on
not
the
an
outside.
Interior pickup.
No, it's just a window out front.
Got it.
Correct, Brandon? Just for the record.
Yeah, what we have submitted, the pickup window is outside, right next to the front door. There are options where a small counter can be provided inside instead of that. So people can walk in the front door and there's a small counter there. In either situation, there wouldn't be a seat, it would just be a pickup through mobile order or order there.
And I think everything else has been addressed in the updated plans. I would just ask to waive the reading of the exhibit list. It's here on the video, and I'll provide it to the clerk for the minutes. And after you close the hearing, if someone should make a motion to approve the project, that has to include the notes from plan review memo. And I have reasons for approval, should someone choose to.
Are there any other questions at this point? No. Any members of the public who want to speak in favor of the application? Any members of the public who want to speak in favor of the application? Last time, any members of the public wishing to speak in favor? Anybody wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Anybody wishing to speak in opposition? Okay. Then stand up and state your name for the record, please.
I'm Bill Plummer. I live on 25 Broadway, down the street. I work, in fact, at 168 West Town Street, right next to this property. And I would say there are several issues that I think I would be concerned about. One of them is flooding. 3 years ago, we had a big flash flood. The water came all the way up to the intersection where we could road and West Town Street. I was driving to work. I got caught in a flash flood. I had to get up out of my car and practically swim to shore. It's a little further down from this location, but with global warming, and I think we have to call it that, you know, the frequency of storms, and the severity of storms, and the amount of moisture release will be greater. So I have some concern about a project that's going to take place right in this floodplain area. I don't remember in the last year we had the possible bursting of the dam up in Fitchville, and much of this area was evacuated of the potential of damage. Another concern I have is that this is an extremely busy highway, extremely busy. There are accidents all the time at this intersection. Cars are coming down the hill at a rapid rate of speed, have a traffic light there, you have people coming off 395. This is simply going to aggravate the problem, the traffic problem as far as I see. And I third concern is that the building itself is an 1860 schoolhouse built for the Greenville community. 1926, I believe, when the Samuel Huntington School was built, that use as a schoolhouse ended. The Grange ended up taking it over and running it as the Grange for many years. So it's not just a building, it's a building that has significance in this historic area of the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak in opposition?
Good evening. My name is Joanne Philbrook and I reside at 10 Elm Avenue. In doing some research for this presentation, I Googled a number of things and I came up with some interesting facts that although they don't have direct bearing on the special permit, I think it would be irresponsible if it wasn't looked at in the totality. Number one is that I believe, according to the city website, the owner of record is in current litigation with the city for unpaid taxes. This may or may not be factual. It's what was available on the website. This building has asbestos shingles. That is a huge consideration. And lastly, I have to say that when I purchased my beautiful 300-year-old home in Norwich town, I did it with the anticipation that some of the character of the neighborhood would be maintained. This has not been the case. So I have to ask, do we need another drive-through fast food restaurant in Norwich? My personal opinion is no. Do we need economic development? Absolutely. But I think for me personally and for people in my neighborhood, we are asking ourselves, when is enough enough? What is the plan of conservation? Conservation to me means to conserve some of the things we have. Development means to develop new and exciting projects. And it's a very difficult task to balance the two. And just for reference, I will give you as anecdotal. Every day when I have to come down the city, I go by the 3 properties on Town Street where Burger King was going to come and save us all. It's now been how many years with chain link fences? It's an eyesore. So your decision is very difficult. Mr. Plummer brings up some excellent points. In the Fitchville Dam thing, the city helped bail out literally and figuratively numerous businesses. So what guarantee do we have that this won't also then become a business that needs assistance from the city because their business was flooded? These are all considerations. And am I a not in my backyard person? Absolutely. Absolutely. I make no qualms about that. But again, it's about finding the balance. You cannot simultaneously promote historic tourism with a drive-through Dunkin' Donuts. So again, like I said, it's your decision, but it's a difficult one. Again, finding the balance between conservation and development. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the public wishing to speak in opposition to the application, either here in person or online? Anybody else? Hearing no others. Cut that off. Are there, based on the presentations, are there any other questions at this time? Mr. Hanfield, do you have any responses to the public comments?
I can offer A response to the flooding and frequency, I acknowledge the presence of a flooding hazard at the rear of the property. It certainly follows the Yanick River floodplain. I'm involved in the Yanick River. I live on it myself. I see it every day, and I was aware of the flooding that occurred recently as well over the last 40 years and what happens in Norwich. In this situation, the reason we honored the mapped FEMA floodplain is that we were ultimately conservative with what we were doing. And even with that conservative approach, we made sure we met the requirements of your regulations as well as FEMA, so that we aren't exasperating any flooding in the area. But acknowledge that flooding does exist in close proximity, and we've done all we can on the developed property to ensure the safety of not only this property, but those around us. The rest of the comments, there's not a lot I can respond to, other than the area itself is highly developed. And one item I'll mention is that this Dunkin' Donuts is intended to be a relocation of the Dunkin' Donuts that it already exists on this intersection within a gas station which has a drive-through. So this will be a relocation of that existing use, which is the same, to a property that they own and have their own Dunkin' Donuts on, rather than in a gas station which has its own traffic issues. So that's I think what I can offer for responses.
Thank you. Anything else, Dan? Somebody want to make a motion to waive the reading of the exhibit list? Nick's making that motion. Do we have a second? A second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we can waive the reading of the list, and with that, can we have a motion to close the public hearing? Nick? Nick's made a motion. Can we have a second? Jim? Yep. So we have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the public hearing is closed. Anybody want to make a motion addressing the merits of the application? One way or the other, I don't care. Anybody want to make a motion? We got to act on it.
Technically, you don't have to tonight, everyone.
No, but we have to at some point.
That's true.
Do we need more information? Was there a problem with information?
Can't get more at this point.
So-
I'll make a motion for approval of the site plan. And including all the notes, staff comments, 1 through 12. All notes and memos of the staff. Is there anything else need to be incorporated, Dan?
You're speaking about the plan read, the memo?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Anything else?
Oh, you need a reason on the record.
Oh, the reason.
Yes.
For the reason the proposal conforms to the ZR section 2.4 and 3.4, chapter 5, ZR section 7.5 and 7.7 of the zoning regulation.
So we now have a motion. Do we have a second? Second by Nick. Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? I don't think so. Okay, so the plan is approved with the conditions as stated on the record and in the memo. Okay. Thanks, Brandon.
Appreciate it.
And our next matter is a site plan application for development plan 1056 and CAM number 24-01, 3 Crown Street. It's proposed construction of a stone dust walking track, grass play area, and 50 by 25 foot by 2 minutes concrete play area for use by the Integrated Day Charter School. Application and property of integrated day charter school, assessors map 118, block 2, lots 13 and 14. There's somebody here to make a presentation on this application.
Yes, that would be me, Kyle Hobbert from CLA Engineers, here on behalf of the applicant, the Integrated Day Charter School. Could I share my screen, Dan?
Yep, go right ahead.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Are you able to see that aerial plan?
Yes.
Yeah, if you could zoom that in a little bit, that'd be great.
For your reference on the map, to the upper left corner is the Integrated Day Charter School, on Thermos Avenue. To the top side of the plan, the railroad tracks and the Thames River. And then to the bottom part of the plan is Laurel Hill, running right through this area here. We are here tonight with an application to propose a walkway between the existing Integrated Day Charter School and to connect this property and the school to two parcels that they own over on the right side of the map here on Crown Street. The Integrated Day Charter School, this is the end of their building here. They have an outdoor playground just to the north of their building. On that playground, it's fenced in with a gate. And what we're proposing is at that gate to construct a stone dust walkway, partially a bituminous walkway, and then a stone dust walkway to a play area on the Crown Street properties. The Integrated Day Charter School purchased these two properties over here. They're known as 3 Crown Street, and I believe it is 289 Laurel Hill, with the intention of creating a play area and outdoor recreation for their students in this area. These properties are currently vacant. At one point they were cleared and they have been previously disturbed. There are sewer lines that run through to the interceptor that runs along the railroad tracks. Currently the property is primarily scrub brush and semi-disturbed areas. As I noted, what we are proposing to do is start a new stone dust walkway at the gate from their play area right in this location here. That stone dust walkway will run up an existing gravel path that's there to Crown Street. Due to the slope of Crown Street, there's a hill that runs along this way downhill towards the property. We're proposing a bituminous concrete walkway just off the edge of road through here to prevent any erosion problems of that walkway. Where the road flattens out right through this area, we'll transition back to stone dust and loop around a couple of parking places that we've proposed, and then transition back to stone dust and loop around the new play area and back. You can go back to the school in that way. The total path length will be about 1,500 feet. So it's just over a quarter mile if you walk or run the entire loop, for the school. Part of the intention of that walkway and that pathway is, I believe there is a track or cross-country team at the school. They currently run laps in the parking lot to get their training in. And part of the intention of this is to allow them access and to loop the site and gain more training. Sorry.
We're having technical problems.
Yes, I am. I apologize. I'm trying to hide the.
I wasn't sure if you were done or not.
No, I was trying to get back to the other map. I apologize. Yeah.
There we are.
It's a tough feature because it blocks your tabs.
It does, and I'm trying to hide it, but it's not. Yeah, there we go.
I feel your pain.
Yeah, I know. Yes, I was trying to get back to this. This is a detailed site plan of the proposed play area. As I noted, this is where we transition from the bituminous walk to the stone dust in this area. What we're proposing is 3 parking spaces off of Crown Street. One of them will be ADA accessible for staff and potentially for drop off of ADA of handicapped students in the area. There is an accessible route along the stone dust path to the play area from the ADA parking spot. Again, what we're proposing is the stone dust loop around a play area. We will regrade this area in green here. That will be all open space lawn area intended for the students to for outdoor recreation, gym class, and that kind of stuff. We're also proposing a paved area here, 15 by 25. The intention that would be used for games, foursquare, that kind of stuff out there. There also was a thought of potentially adding some picnic tables on the bituminous area. The site does slope from Laurel Hill towards the river, so we'll be flattening the area in the play area here. Where it gets steep along this slope, what we're proposing is a set of concrete stairs to get down to a lower flat area. What we're currently proposing is prepping for a future development down there. So we'll do a crushed stone or a concrete pad. The thought being that in the future, they may build a pavilion in that area. Similarly, in this corner here, we'll prep for potentially a future shed, storage shed for athletic equipment in that area. Neither one of those are part of this proposal. They're purely planning for the future. If anything does come of them in the future, we will be required to come back for a zoning permit for those structures. We have not proposed any new plantings for the site. What we're proposing is to clear the area for the work proposed. And the intention being that the outdoor recreation is open space area for students to play and for gym classes and that kind of stuff. The site in the play area is sheltered from Laurel Hill. Along Laurel Hill in this area, there's an existing concrete retaining wall that runs along the road. And then we're also proposing another concrete retaining wall. It'll be like a Versalock, a modular block wall running right along this area here. So the site will actually be about 16 feet below the Laurel Hill Road area. So it will be screened from the main roadway out in that area. We have provided for erosion and sedimentation control measures during construction. The downhill side of the walkway, as well as the site, will be protected with silt fence. Also, while grading is being performed on the site, we've proposed an intermediate area of silt fence to prevent any washout and erosion of the property. There was one outstanding comment from the city engineer. This property will be surrounded by a chain link fence for security reasons and to secure access to the site. I had previously misunderstood a comment from him and adjusted the chain link fence that's proposed along this area here. He had intended for us to extend chain link fence along the top side of this retaining wall here. We are in complete agreement with that and would be happy to make that a condition of approval if the commission so chooses. And with that, if there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question. You probably stated it. What is the main reason you're before the CCP this evening? Is there one outstanding issue or?
This is in the coastal area management zone. So we are required to come before you for the CAM permit. DEP did review the plans and noted that it is consistent with their coastal consistency.
Right, I did read that, so it's just because it's in there.
And the zoning officer determined because it's a separate parcel from the existing school. So he sent it for site plan review.
Okay.
At his discretion.
Very good. All right. Thank you.
And as Kyle mentioned, just mentioned it now, that I got the CAM review back today from the state. They're fine with it.
Fine,
Okay.
Anybody else have questions? Dan, anything to add?
Yeah, 1 second. So as Kyle mentioned, this went up for a CAM review as well. The state came back today and said they were fine with it. I would note that if someone chooses to make a motion to approve this project, you need to approve the CAM application first. Let's see. He also mentioned already that the future elements on the site plan, they need to come back and get a zoning permit for those at that time. The bond estimate is fine, city engineer. And then I just asked that if someone does make a motion to approve, to include all the plan review memo comments. I do have a suggested reason for you if you choose to do so. And just note that the CAM, take care of the CAM approval first. That's all I have to add. And if someone can add, as Kyle mentioned, the comment about the additional fencing along the top of the block wall.
All right. Anybody want to make a motion in connection with the application, taking into account the CAM?
I'll make a motion to approve the CAM application.
And sorry, Dean, the reason for that would be it's consistent with the policies and standards of the Connecticut Coastal Management Act.
Okay. These are the standard of coastal management act.
Okay, do we have a second for that? Nick has a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the coastal management application has been approved. Do we have a motion regarding the application itself for the site development plan?
You're on the roll.
Okay, I'll continue. I'll make a motion to approve this application, including all staff comments, plan review comments, with the reason the proposal conforms to section 1.5, chapter 5, section 7.5, the zoning regulations, and including the new fencing on the top of the retaining wall up near the road there.
No, it's down by the field.
Down by the field. Okay, towards the road. Yeah.
Okay,
I'll second it.
so we have a motion by Dean, second by Jim. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, so that application is approved also with the conditions as stated. All right,
Thank you very much.
thank
Thank
you. Okay, whole business, we have none except to note that the application for the special permit 24 for proposed cannabis cultivation and manufacturing facility at 105 Stonington Road is being continued to October 22nd, 2024 meeting at the request of the applicant.
Is that the last extension? Okay.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, last one.
Yeah. That'll bring us to 65 days or so.
Right there. Yep.
Right there.
We have no extension requests, no bond reduction or release requests. I see no other business, staff report. Deanna or Dan, D&D?
No, we're just in contract negotiations back and forth with the state for the Brownfields grant for Cape Art, both the smaller one and the $4 million one.
Tomorrow I'll be there at DEP to receive the grant award of the smaller one, the $56,000 one.
Yeah.
So I'm going there tomorrow.
Well,
They
we
wanna
want a $56 million one.
Yeah, we're getting the little one. They're having a press because DEP hasn't done a circular grant in a long time, so they're having like a press thing there tomorrow. Like I said, we haven't finalized the agreements, you know, stuff to do with the contracts and with the state for either of the grants. So, but we're working on them really hard. for
We're
that.
still waiting to hear the state kind of move the goalposts on CIF, the latest CIF round. Hopefully by the end of the month, we might
Yeah.
hear.
And the city had one in for doing stuff in the waterfront area, that was submitted by NCDC, and Dan and I had prepared one for Norwich State Hospital to be planning for
Yeah.
that. We're also working on the zoning regulations, with our consultant. He hasn't given us the use table yet, though. We're waiting for that. Right. that's
2
gonna be-
weeks from today, I believe.
So, yeah, so they've been just working on, they did a full review of our existing zoning regulations, have notes about the plan of conservation development and how to incorporate some of the new ideas into the zoning regulations. And then they're talking to us about, they're gonna give us a list of all our existing uses in the regs, of where, in one table, of where they're allowed everywhere instead of us flipping through it. And so we can visually say, does this make sense, and that kind of thing. And then Dan and I are looking at zones of where the lines are funky and it doesn't make sense, and potentially for some zone changes along with the regulation changes. So
Yeah.
lots of busy stuff.
What's the proposed deadline or finish time for this?
For the year project for the zoning regulations, so we've been a couple
Say
of months
next
into
summer.
it.
Next
Yeah.
summer, but there's
Yeah.
no hard deadline that you have to meet or anything?
No.
Really?
No,
That's
Okay.
just.
This is our choice.
Your choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we want to get it done because the plan is adopted, and the next thing you normally do is adopt zoning regulations that incorporate those, so.
Yeah, and it's the same team that worked on.
That's what I was
Yosemite.
gonna ask, who's consulting?
Yeah,
Yep.
so SLR, so they're good, and they, like I said, they, it's a great flip from going the plan of conservation development to helping us work on the regs. But we'll be doing the public outreach on that and talking to people, you know, in the boards and commissions locally about.
It sounds like you're happy with the progression of it so far, progress.
Yeah, I mean,
So far,
it's
so
a
good.
little
Yeah.
slow, it is a little slow, but
Not all of it is super fun or exciting. There's a
No.
lot of cleanup and
Yeah,
word
yeah,
changes and making sure it
yeah,
matches
we have
state
like
regs. and-
pages and pages of our concerns with the existing regs, because they're not getting paid a ton of money to do this, so compared to what many communities pay, pay to have their regs done. So some of it will be a rehash of what we already have, so we're keeping the good stuff as much as we can, but that means a lot of, instead of, fresh from the beginning, all new, we're taking pieces that work for us now, so there's a lot of work that's involved in that. So.
I think the only other thing is we will remind you at the next CCP meeting, but the goal for the Uncas Sleep project ribbon cutting is gonna be Friday, November 1st.
Yes,
Will be the,
yes, so
Reception.
we'll send out local for you guys, the boards and commissions, land use ones, an invite to it, just or at least a reminder. But we're fighting like all the federal people, so we got Blumenthal and Joe Courtney, because it was ARPA money to do it. Asking
the
the governor.
Caribbean.
well, you can send us a postcard then.
Yeah.
So,
The
I'll make a
governor and all kinds of people to come and all that, so it'll be pretty swanky, I think, it's
yeah,
coming
but
along
it's
very
coming along.
nicely.
It's gonna be really great.
We originally were looking at an earlier day for Indigenous Peoples' Day, which is coming up very short, the beginning of October, and it just wasn't gonna have enough of the things done. So by putting out to November 1st, which actually is the beginning of, Native American
Heritage Month.
History Month or Native American month. So that really works out good because it'll be the first day of the month, and the rain date will be the following Monday. So
The survey for the building down at the waterfront, got any results on that?
I don't know. That's more of like, that was more, and well,
CDC.
we're involved with
Yeah.
Division Norwich, but NCDC is the one that kind of championed that, so we have not heard
Yeah,
on what that is. You know, I
Last I
think
knew, it was probably 70-30,
of
80-20.
tear down, right?
Tear it down.
Oh,
But I
really?
think the few people who don't want to tear it down are just like ignoring the seven, I don't know if they ignore it, but they're like, oh, you know, but the intention really was to take it down, to make it available for new development there or whatever, to open up the waterfront there, you know, so.
But who would incur the cost of tearing it down?
It would be a grant, we'd probably go for, Brownfield's
Brownfield's.
money to take
Okay.
that down, so. Cause they know that the city has already received $2 million to work on the waterfront area down there, so we're piecemealing what we wanna do, so. I think that that's a critical part of redevelopment down there, so. I don't think there's anything else.
The Halloween strut.
Oh,
Leave it all.
Don't forget the
Enjoy it.
Halloween strut next month in October, the 26th, 5 to 8 PM Saturday.
Just-
Will be struck.
Just a
Yeah.
few days after next month's CCP.
And go have a little Norwich beer. Just
Oh,
kidding.
Right. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Thank you, Dean. We got a second?
Second.
Second, Jim?
Yes, sir.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned,
So
8:01.
Like slipper.
Yeah.
Dress slipper.